Hello, everyone. Welcome to your Vinyasa practice. My name is Tessa. Welcome to the year 2022. Wondering, even though you can't really answer me, how this year is feeling in your body, emotionally, mentally, physically. How's everything feeling? So with that thought or question in mind, we'll come to an upright, comfortable seat. And if sitting upright like this isn't comfortable for you, feel free to just lie down on your back. If you are sitting upright, please support your sit bones. I'm sitting on a little cushion. You can sit however is comfortable. It doesn't have to look like this. And I'll invite you to join me in Guyana Mudra, which is the index finger and thumb touching. You can rest that down on tops of the thighs and maybe even close the eyes. You can always just lower the gaze and kind of unfocus the eyes if you'd rather keep them open. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's step into our practice onto our mat with intention, on purpose. And if there is a purpose, can you be specific about it? What is it? Let's take a few moments, letting whatever comes up for you be present, acknowledge it. Take about 2 more breaths here. Arriving with intention. And if you like, you can blink the eyes open. You can always keep that internal awareness by closing the eyes at any point in time if you want to just listen to the instructions with the sound of my voice. From the seated position, we'll extend the right leg out long. Keep that left knee bent, pull the foot to the inner thigh. We'll turn over towards the right leg, facing it. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And then exhale, just frame out the leg with the fingertips, so fingertips to the mat. And it might feel kind of like a forward fold, although you're not forcing it. We're going to add on a little bit of lateral movement. So leading with that left arm, sweep it up. Left palm plants behind that hip as the right arm stretches up towards the ceiling. So just kind of breathing into the waist and the side of the ribs. And then on your exhale, coming back over that right leg, fingertips framing it out, and forward fold a little. Inhaling, sweep that left arm high, plant the palm behind you, let that right arm follow. And we'll continue with this, just moving in between these 2 shapes. Utilize the breath here as your guide. Inhale up. Kind of exhale to pause. One more time to fold over the right leg. I'm going to invite you to add on with me. So as that left arm sweeps high and it plants behind the hip, pressing into the palm, you can lift the hips up and put a little bit of weight on the shin bone and the knee of the left leg. And then setting the hips back down, folding over the right leg again. We'll do that 3 more times. So inhaling to lift the hips. Exhaling to lower the hips and fold over the right leg. Twice more, inhaling. And then exhaling. One more time to lift the hips up. Stretch that right arm high. And then exhaling, set the hips down, fold over the right leg. 2 breaths here. You're not reaching for the foot, you're just letting the head be heavy. Framing out the leg with the hands or fingertips. One more breath in. Breath out. And come all the way back up to your seated position. We'll just simply switch out the legs. So left leg goes long, right knee stays bent. Turn to frame out the left leg. Stretch the arms overhead. Deep breath in. Get really tall through the spine. Exhale, fingertips to the mat, framing out your left leg. And the right arm's going to lead the way this time as it lifts up, planting the fingertips or the palm behind the hip, stretching the left arm overhead. You're just starting off with the arms. Hips are going to stay on the ground. Come back to your forward fold. Moving in between these two shapes. Okay, so here's the opportunity to add on as that right arm sweeps high and plants behind the hip. You can press into the palm, you can bring the weight onto the shin bone and the knee as you stretch the left arm overhead. Setting the hips back down, folding over left leg. And continue. So within this scope of movement, hips lifting or not, folding some and stretching through the side body. What's most important here is the breath and noticing how the body feels, not necessarily how it looks. Twice more. And as you set your hips back down, folding over the left leg for a few breath cycles. Inhale, lifting back up. Last little bit here, seated, and then we'll start to move and flow. So both legs stretch out. You can make a V shape. It doesn't need to be this wide. It can be more narrow. Your knees can stay bent, and you can stay on your height, your cushion. Fingertips are going to go right behind the ears, elbows wide. See if you can keep the elbows in line with the shoulders. Then bring your right elbow down. Maybe it taps the mat, doesn't need to, but what's most important here is your chest stays open, right? So we're not folding in, we're keeping the chest broad, and we're just moving laterally, so side to side with the elbows. We're not twisting, we're keeping the chest open, growing tall through the spine. One more time, each direction. And then we'll come back up through center. You can take your hands behind the knees to bring the legs together. Come to tabletop. If you're seated on something, just set that off to the side. In your tabletop, spread your fingers wide. Get that purchase through the entire circumference of the palm. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. Let your feet walk wide on your mat. You can shorten the stance a little bit. Relax your head. Go ahead, start to bend your knees right and left. Checking over the back body. Notice how it feels. A couple more breaths here in this first downward facing dog. And now in your down dog, I want you to narrow your stance. Maybe feet are about hip width distance apart, or your big toes could be touching. And then wiggle your hands forward so you have a long stance, right? So your fingertips are more towards the top of the mat, your toes are more towards the back of your mat. It might feel like it's longer than you're used to. That's okay. Take a big breath in, start to shift forward, find high plank. And then feel your body lengthen out, backs of the heels, crown of the head stretches forward, inner thighs squeeze together. Go ahead, set your knees down. Come all the way to the belly. Thumbs walk underneath the lower ribs. Elbows squeeze into the sides of the waist. Forehead touches the mat. Press into the tops of the feet and the palms of the hands. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, lower. 2 more rounds of low cobra. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift the heart. See if you can pause here. Maybe you hover the hands away from the floor. So feel your shoulder blades squeeze together underneath the back. Gazing down at the mat, chest is lifted. Palms back to the mat, forehead touches. Press into hands and knees. If you want to, you could take a beat in child pose or move right up and back to downward facing dog. We're going to take 3 breaths. Open the mouth, exhale. Maybe you stick out your tongue. Maybe you flutter the lips, horse breath. And then if you haven't made your way already into downward facing dog, that's where we will meet. We'll take that wide stance with the feet, so pinky edges to the outer edges of the mat, pinky toes to the outer edges of the mat. Keep that wide stance and walk your hands back to meet the feet. And then go ahead right away, bend into your knees, sink your hips. The fingertips are going to stay connected to the floor. You're going to keep your knees as bent as you need to make this happen. And this is going to be your inhale, where it's like you're making this effort to press the heart forward like a halfway lift. And then on your exhale, let your head draw down. Maybe the backs of the legs lengthen out a little bit. They might not get all the way straight, and that's okay. It's not really the goal. Inhale, bend the knees, deep, deep bend in the knees, hips sink, lift the heart. Exhale, maybe you straighten out a little bit. Could be just a few inches. Let your head be heavy. We'll start to inhale and exhale, breath to movement. Twice more. Now, whatever you need to do, get your hands to the mat. Maybe that means bending your knees. Now start to walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. Lengthen out in down dog. Take a big breath in. And breath out, walk your feet together, big toes touching back of the mat. So you're still in down dog with a narrow stance. Press the palms into the floor, stretch the right leg up and back. Lift onto the ball mound of the left foot. So you're lifting the left heel. Inhale here. And then on your exhale, you're going to shift forward. Maybe you set your knees down to step the right foot between the hands. That's a nice way to transition, I find. Right foot's between the hands, top of the mat. Sweep the arms out and up. Wiggle the right toes forward. Stay connected into that right strong foot as you move the hips down and forward. Deep breath in here. And breath out, palms to the mat. Stepping back into high plank. And from high plank, lift the hips, down dog. Again, narrow stance with the feet. Big toes touching. Strong through the palms and the shoulders. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Lift on to the ball mound of the right foot. Lift that right heel, just the heel bone. Deep breath in. And then on your exhale, shift forward. You can always soften the knees down to make that left foot step forward more easeful. Left foot forward, dig into that left heel. As you sweep the arms out and up, wiggling the left foot forward so you can sink the hips down and forward a little bit more. Big breath in here. And on your breath out, palms plant. Moving to high plank first. Then Adho Mukha Svanasana, that's downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale the air out. From your downward facing dog, lift your heel bones, bend your knees, step your way up to the top of the mat. The top of your mat, forward fold. You can heel toe your feet a little bit wider. You can grab your opposite elbows if you like, bend the knees right and left. Uttanasana. We're going to hang out here for a few more breath cycles. Now start to walk your fingertips to your shins. Take a big breath in, find a halfway lift. Spine is parallel with the ground, tucking the tailbone under and hugging your navel into your spine. So if you can keep that, hands walk to the waist, press down into the feet and stand up at the top of the mat. Inhale, stretch the arms out, reach up. Exhale, pull your elbows wide, tuck your tailbone under, press your hips forward. Inhale, re-extend the arms. And exhale, forward fold. From your forward fold, step back into high plank. And from your high plank, shifting forward onto the tippy toes. Option to set the knees down, coming through another round of low cobra to down dog or chaturanga to up dog. Okay, and then settling into 3 breath cycles of stillness. That might be child's pose or, again, downward facing dog. Utilize that exhale to breathe out through mouth, through teeth, through lips. Audible sigh out. One more time. If you're in child's pose, meet me in downward facing dog. We're going to move on from here, adding on to our vinyasa. So once again, big toes touching at the back of the mat. This time we're going to stretch that left leg up and back first. The left leg lifts up and back. Lift the right heel so you get a little bit more length. And then on your exhale, we're going to step that left foot between the hands. In whatever way you like, find that transition. Pop up onto your fingertips, press into the left heel, strong left leg. Rise up to crescent lunge. Settle in here for a moment. Deep breath in. We're going to move in and out of crescent lunge dynamically with the breath. We're going to open up into warrior 2, so that right heel is going to spin down. Foot becomes parallel with the short edge of your mat. Arms spread out wide. Okay, so this left leg, it's going to stay exactly as it is. What's changing is the right heel. The right heel is going to lift. That's going to rotate the whole leg forward. Arm sweep up, crescent lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior 2. We'll do this a couple more times. So this left thigh, you're asking a lot of it. Probably going to start to feel kind of burny, which is a good sign. Right heel lifts to rotate the hip forward to crescent lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior 2. One more time to crescent lunge, inhale. Exhale, open up, warrior 2. Let's give this left leg a break, press that left leg to straight, and then bump that left hip forward a little bit. Reach the right hand down, left arm high, reverse Trikonasana. Now again, dynamic movement in and out of this shape, Trikonasana, into half moon pose, Arda Chandrasana. So left arm's going to sweep forward, bend a little bit into that left knee, all the way it transitions to left foot as you float the right leg up and back. Arms are spread wide, just like they are in warrior 2. And I'm not really making an effort to get anywhere with this left hand, just kind of floating down in space. Now soft landing, right foot back of the mat, reverse Trikonasana. Deep inhale here. Forward into Arda Chandrasana. Take your time with that transition. Back to reverse Trikonasana. Soft landing. One more time forward, Arda Chandrasana. Balancing on the left leg. Stay light through the hands. All the way back to reverse Trikonasana. Left arm's reaching high. Bend that left knee. Warrior two. Let's spin that right heel up. Come back to crescent lunge. Both arms sweep forward and up. Plant the right palm at the top of the mat underneath the shoulder. Rotate the left arm towards the ceiling. You're in a low lunge with a twist. Deep breath in here. Exhale, left palm underneath the shoulder. High plank. Optional vinyasa here. You can shift forward for chaturanga to up dog or another round of low cobra. And then finding your stillness for 3 breath cycles. Child's pose or downward facing dog. We'll meet in downward facing dog. If you're not already there, find that narrow stance, big toes touching. Inhale, we're gonna sweep that right leg high. So right leg high, and then lift that left heel. Deep breath in here. And then on your exhale, shifting forward, work the right foot between the hands. Come up onto your fingertips first to stabilize your lunge legs. And then rise up to crescent lunge with the arms and the torso. Stabilize here, a little bend in that left knee, deep bend in the right knee. So we're gonna start our transition to open up to warrior two. We're gonna spin that left heel down. You need to pivot the feet, do so. But this right knee is gonna stay bent the whole time. So what's driving this into crescent lunge is the lift of that left heel, rotating knee and hip forward to top of the mat. Arms just kind of follow along. Maybe that's your inhale, and maybe your exhale opens you up to warrior two. So try this a few more times. Lifting the left heel, rotating hip and torso forward, crescent lunge. Pressing left heel down, opening up warrior two. Twice more. Crescent lunge. Warrior two. One more time to crescent. And exhale, warrior two. Pause here. Give the right leg a break, press it to straight. Take a peek at the feet. This is your Trikonasana Setup. We'll reverse the arms, left arm down, right arm high. Bumping the right hip forward towards the top of the mat. Moving towards Arda Chandrasana, reaching forward with the right hand, bending into the right knee, transitioning the weight. Might take a hop or two with that left leg to be able to float it up and back. Arms are spreading wide. Remember, you're not efforting to get anywhere with this right hand. Just let it float down in space. Soft landing back through reverse Trikonasana with the left foot planted. Right arm reaching high. Let's see if you can kind of dance between these two shapes. If it's wobbly, great. If it's stable, great. If it's somewhere in between the two, great. We're just looking to learn the balance, the dance between the two. Continue moving with your breath. One more time forward to Arda Chandrasana, balancing on the right leg. Soft landing back to reverse Trikonasana, deep breath in. And then exhale, warrior two, bending the right knee. Lifting the left heel, point the hip, shoulder forward, crescent lunge, top of the mat. Deep breath in here. Left palm planted at the top of the mat underneath the shoulder. Rotate right arm high. Inhale. Exhale, right palm plants. Step to high plank. Option to move one last vinyasa, or if you're ready for a rest, a break, you can take child's pose or downward facing dog instead of flowing. Take 3 breaths in your stillness. If you're in downward facing dog, make your way to your knees. Hips to heels, at least 1 breath in child's pose. Slide the palms underneath the shoulders. We'll briefly sit up to transition to our back. With the knees bent and the feet planted. And then hugging your knees into your chest. You can rock a little bit side to side. And last little bit of movement here to realign the spine, find neutral. Inhale, stretch the feet up towards the ceiling, reach the arms overhead, biceps alongside the ears. And then exhale, arms down alongside the body, bend the knees, plant the feet. Pressing into the feet, lift the hips up. Exhale, lower the tailbone, the spine back to the mat. Inhale, feet lift, arms stretch overhead. We'll do that twice more. Exhaling, arms alongside the body, bent knees, feet planted. Pressing into bridge pose on your inhale, lifting the hips up. Exhaling, lower. Inhale, feet stretch for the ceiling, arms stretch overhead. Exhale, knees bend, feet plant, arms alongside the body. One more time, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips, bridge pose. Exhale, lower the spine, the pelvis. Inhale, feet for the ceiling, arms overhead. When you're ready to exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit side to side. You can move towards happy baby if that's something that you're craving for your last shape. You reach up for the soles of the feet or anywhere along the backs of the legs, pulling the knees wide towards the armpits. If there's any other last shape, movement you'd like to take, now would be the time. And we'll start to head towards Shavasana over the next 3 breath cycles. So you can take Shavasana in any way you like, as long as you're able to be still. Let the body start to settle and receive and integrate everything that it's done. Maybe it's just simply by stretching the legs out long, arms resting alongside the body, or palms facing down on the belly. Roll the shoulders underneath the back body, slightly tilt the chin to the chest. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale the air out. Imagine letting everything go, letting everything rest here. Shavasana. We'll take 1 minute of silence. If you have more time to spare in Shavasana, please stay as long as you can. You need to move on, slowly awaken fingertips and toes. Start to move your head side to side. When you're ready, stretch your arms overhead, breathe into the full length of the body. And then on an exhale, bend the knees, roll off to a side. Pressing into the hands, rising up to an upright seat. Support your sit bones so that the spine can grow tall with ease. Take a few moments to settle in here. I'd like to share with you a short passage from Meditations from the Mat. This is a book that moves through the 8 limbs of yoga, which is sometimes referred to as the 8-limb path, or Ashtanga, which means 8 limbs. And this is meant to be a day-by-day practice. So if we consider day 1 as today, this is what we would contemplate on our 8-limb path. So settling in here, I invite you to close the eyes and just come into a place of listening. I believe our hunger for yoga and our eagerness to embrace yoga as a spiritual practice are a testament to our growth and our desire for change. In the aftermath of the bloodbath that was the 20th century, and in the presence of threats posed by more recent events, there is a pressing need for what Buddhist scholar Robert Thurman describes as a cold revolution. We need a new paradigm, one that will replace our present attachment to imbalance. Yoga is the study of balance, and balance is the aim of all living creatures. It is our home. Take a few moments to allow that to resonate, and as you do, join your hands together at the heart Anjali Mudra. Anjali means offering. Bowing the chin to the chest with reverence and gratitude for the practice. May we use the fruits to serve our highest good, reach our highest potential, share it with those around us that we love and who could use healing. Together we send love and healing to all sentient beings around the world that may be suffering. May they be happy. May they be free. Namaste, yogis. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Hope you are feeling good and well in your bodies, taking care of yourselves. And I hope to have you back in class again soon. Bye.